Hi everyone, I am Study-Sathiswary CI1. Today we are going to look out at a case study on malaria infection. The patient is a male who is 22 years old Nigerian who studies in Malaysia. The patient who was in Nigeria for 3 weeks of semester holiday, he experienced the onset of fever 15 days after arriving to Malaysia. The patient started vomiting 2 days after the onset of fever. The patient do have muscle and body ache, and from the medical examination, the physician found that there's no hemoptysis, hematemesis, lymphoidenopathy, or acromegaly, or diarrhea. The lungs were also clear, and the patient's blood pressure, pulse rate, and capillary filling times were also in normal range. Since the patient had traveled to the northern region of Nigeria, it was suspected the patient might have been susceptible towards the infectious infections such as dengue, malaria, Ebola. So further clinical tests were done on the patient. First of all, on the laboratory findings, complete blood count was assessed day by day for the patient from the first day of admission to aid the diagnosis. So most of the hematological parameters favors the lower boundary of the normal range. On the first day, the hemoglobin count was lower with 12.6 gram per deciliter, while the neutrophils were in higher range, 84.2%. The lymphocytes were also quite low, with just 9.1 percentage, and the patient's platelets were still within the normal range on the first day. On the second day, the RBC count started to drop compared to the first day, from 4.6 to 4.3, where followed by hemoglobin, they do drops from 12.6 to 11.9 gram per deciliter. Over here we can see that the WBC count also falls from 8.1 to 6.1 from the day 1 to day 2. The neutrophil and lymphocytes were within the normal range on the second day, and the monocytes are also high compared to the normal range, where they increase from 6.1 to 15.4 percentage on the second day. It is noted that the platelet count drops from 196 to 154 from the first day to second day, although they are within the normal range, yet the drastic a decrease can be seen clearly from the complete blood count analysis. Besides CBC, other serological tests was done using the patient's blood samples. So tests for dengue and leptospirosis were done on the first day of admission, where both the test was non-reactive, and the blood film to detect a malaria parasite was also done. On the second day of admission, there was no parasite was seen under the microscopic examination. On the third day, the blood film analysis for malaria parasite was continued, and from this microscopic examination, trophocyte was found in the blood film, and it is deduced that the species might be Plasmodium falciparum. And a serological test was done to confirm the identification using malaria parasite antigen detection kit, and it is confirmed that the patient was infected by Plasmodium falciparum. The parasite RBC ratio was 1:300. Yes, this is the blood film for the malaria parasite. This was taken on the third day of patient's admission, from the patient's admission. So this image shows that the trophozoite of Plasmodium falciparum, a ring-shaped trophozoite, can be seen with dots, and the dots are the condensed chromatins. After 3 days of continuous clinical laboratory tests, the patient was finally diagnosed with a malaria infection, which was caused by Plasmodium falciparum. After the admission, the patient was attended by 2 physicians. Early symptomatic treatment was done 4 pins of IVF normal saline was administered to the patient, followed by 10 milligrams of IV methadone was given to the patient to prevent the nausea, feeling, and vomiting. The patient was also given 1 gram of PCM tablets for the temporary relief of runny nose and itchy throat caused by the allergic reaction and to reduce the allergic reaction from developing to worst. So for the discussion, I'm going to discuss more on the significance of the hematological parameters for the early detection of malaria infection. Malaria is a disease which is caused by a protozoan parasite of genus Plasmodium, which is still considered as a very serious global public health problem, where according to the WHO, approximately 198 million cases and 584,000 deaths were recorded in 2013. But in the recent years, there is a significant underreporting of cases and deaths worldwide. So the fatal cases were mainly attributed to the Plasmodium falciparum, where over here these patients do identified with the infection caused by Plasmodium falciparum, where malaria can affect any organ or bodily systems where the hematological systems are being most infected one. So the majority of described alteration occurs on the red cell line and platelets, causing anemia and thrombocytopenia. In the alteration in WBC count are less reported and have been associated with factors such as severity, the Plasmodium species, concurrent infection, and treatment responses. So there are certain studies have found that WBC counts are generally low in malaria patients compared to the healthy patients, and that there is a trend towards lower WBC count in patients with Plasmodium falciparum infected patients. So these changes are dynamic during the illnesses with lower lymphocyte and eosinophil counts at the baseline and higher counts as the symptoms disappear. So over here from this patient we can see that the patient's WBC count do drops from 8.8 to 6.1 from day 1 to day 2 of admission, where this supports the fact given here, and the lymphocyte count was increased on the second day of admission compared to the first day. And certain studies do found that thrombocytopenia acts as an indicator for malaria infection, where patients with platelet count less than 150,000 per microliter were more likely to have malaria infection than the person with platelet count which is more than 150,000 per microliter. And besides lymphocyte, eosinophils do serve as an indicator, where lower eosinophils can be found in acute malaria infection, while the eosinophil count increases as at the recovery stage of a malaria infection. As a conclusion, the changes in the hematological parameters, especially the WBC count of malaria infected patient, is vital to analyze variation according to the clinical status, where some alteration in WBC profile are very much related to the clinical severity and could allow the early identification of patients at risk for medical complication. So their utility as markers of severity should be explored in depth, and it is helpful for to identify the disease resolution also. And continuous symptomatic treatments are also important to avoid any major clinical complication on patient, and in wholesome better understanding of these hematological parameters will allow their usage in the early diagnosis of malaria complication and to monitor the treatment responses. That's all for me. Thank you so much. Have a great day.